Good morning, everyone. It's Sir Chan. In the previous chapter, we have learned that performance assessment is a direct and systematic way or systematic observation of the actual performance of the students based on the predetermined performance criteria, since you have to make your criteria depending on the task. The student demonstrates his understanding of a particular concepts to show mastery of learning. In this chapter, we will discuss another method of assessing the performance of students known as portfolio assessment. Portfolio assessment is an alternative way of assessing students' output to cater to different audiences and purposes. At the end of the session, you are expected to define what is portfolio assessment, differentiate the types of portfolio, and cite the uses of portfolios in the classroom. Now let's have first the definition of a portfolio. What is a portfolio? Portfolio refers to the collection of projects and works of students that exemplifies their skills, attitudes, and interests within a certain period of time. It is a compilation of students' best works and materials which are essential to assess their progress or achievement. Examples of portfolio work samples are poems, songs, letters, drama scripts, drafted and revised stories. For example, in literature or any language subject, it could be the final solution of a certain mathematical equation, or it could be letters in the different business Englishes. Knowing the definition of a portfolio, we can apply portfolio not just in the classroom but also in the workplace. For example, if you are working, each of the employee has his or her portfolio in the following in the organization or in the company that is usually stored in the human resource department. But here we will be focusing on the student's portfolio in particular. So what is portfolio assessment? Knowing that a portfolio assessment is an alternative way of assessing the student's performance in the class. So what is portfolio assessment? Portfolio assessment becomes useful and widely used in assessing and measuring the progress of the students. It documents the process of learning and the changes that occur during the process depending on the types of portfolio that you are preparing or you are engaging. Okay, according to Ferens of 2001, portfolio assessment is a systematic longitudinal collection of student work created in response to specific known instructional objectives and evaluated in relation to the set criteria. So when you are having this portfolio, especially for progress portfolio and showcase portfolio, you have to really prepare when you ask your students to have to prepare his or her portfolio. You are to prepare, of course, the set of criteria or the rubric in order for you to rate that said portfolio from the students. Okay, it documents the process of learning and the changes that occur during the process. As you can see in a previous definition of what is portfolio assessment, it is mentioned that there is a longitudinal collection of student work. It means that it will not occur in this particular time only. It could be during the start of the semester until to the last part, or it could be from the beginning until the end of this following semester or academic year. Okay, so it documents the process of learning and the changes that occur during the process. Since we are talking about student portfolio, as what I have said earlier, that we can apply portfolio as well, not just in the classroom but also in our workplaces when we are working. So speaking of student portfolios are purposeful collection of students' work that exhibit the students' effort, progress, and achievements in one or more areas. Because we can incorporate portfolio in all of the subject areas. All right, and in this purposeful collection, the collection must include students' participation in selecting contents, the criteria for selection, and the criteria for judging, and evidences of student self-reflection. Because at the end of that student portfolio, there is really an area for the students to reflect on the progress of his or her learning. And we have to take note that the student portfolio is not a compilation of the previous works of the student over a period of time, but it contains a purposeful selected samples of student work depending on what type of portfolio you are asking your students to prepare, because we have three major types of portfolio. It could be working portfolio, it could be showcase portfolio, or it could be we have the progress portfolio. It depends on what is the purpose of that particular student portfolio. The student portfolios should represent a collection of students' best work or best efforts, selected student samples of work, work and experiences, for example, related to outcomes being assessed, and documents according to the growth and development towards mastering the identified outcomes. Maybe you are confused on what is really this portfolio collection and portfolio assessment. Now let's have this the differentiation between the two terms. We have the portfolio collection and portfolio assessment. When we say portfolio collection, that would answer the question, why am I collecting evidence? And when it comes to portfolio assessment, that would answer the question, how am I using the evidence? Because we are here to serve the portfolio serve as the assessment. So how are we going to use the data inside the portfolio? All right. So for portfolio collection, that is for representative skills. And for portfolio assessment, given that particular skills, what can we offer? Whether we offer to the next level or the student shall retain on this particular level. Next, for areas of development, okay? In portfolio collection, you can point out what particular area, for example, in language, the 5 macro skills, what particular skill that the student is weak. Here in portfolio assessment, that is to promote development, that is to bridge that particular lacking or gap. For portfolio collection, for demonstrated ability, okay? And then for portfolio assessment, this is to document the ability, because as what I have said earlier, that portfolio assessment happens from the very beginning until to the last to the end of the semester or period. For conferencing, the purpose of here, portfolio collection for conferencing, but here portfolio assessment, knowing that this is the progress of your students, this is for you as a teacher to modify the instruction. And lastly, for portfolio collection, that is for reporting, the reporting of what the students have achieved. For portfolio assessment, this is to adapt the curriculum, knowing that this is the behavior or the learning of the students. We have to somehow see what we can do in the curriculum in order for us to really cater the students' needs and wants in order for them to learn according to their level. Now, what are the uses of portfolio? First one here, it provides both formative and summative opportunities for monitoring progress towards reaching identified outcomes. As you can see, you have here formative and summative opportunity, because formative, that happens within or along the teaching and learning process, and it could be summative opportunity because at the end of every period you can ask your students to submit that portfolio, or as a teacher you have the chance to see the portfolio yourself. Next, it communicates concrete information about what is expected of students in terms of content and quality of performance. Third, it allows students to document aspects of their learning that do not show up well in the traditional assessment. Going back to the purpose of this one, the portfolio assessment, and the other alternative way of assessing the student's performance, that is to cater the things that the traditional assessments cannot cater. Next is, it is useful to showcase periodic or end of the year accomplishments of the students. Depending on the type of portfolio, we have the other one, the showcase, which really showcase the best work of the students in a certain period. Next is, It is used to facilitate communication between teachers and parents regarding the child's achievement or progress. As you can see in the movies, for example, especially abroad, there are really there are really cases that the parents of the certain students would go to the school and ask the students' performance. By this, having the portfolio, you can easily give the portfolio to the parents and let them see the students' progress over time. So it for the teacher side, it is not difficult for you to explain the students' learning, because you have there the portfolio as document of the students' learning. So the parents will go there, and then as a teacher, you will initially give the portfolio, and if there are clarifications about the students' performance inside the classroom, it's time for you to explain to the particular matter to the parents, but of course with the initial information coming from the portfolio of the students. Next, administrator may use portfolio for national competency testing to evaluate educational programs. And lastly, it combines the purposes of instructional enhancement in progress documentation. Through the portfolio, the teacher is able to review the students' work periodically. As what I have said, there are three basic types of portfolio to consider for classroom use, and these are: the first one, we have the working portfolio. This is also known as the teacher-student portfolio. This is the first type of portfolio, and based on its name, it is a project at work. It contains the work in progress as well as the finished samples of student work to reflect the activities done by the teacher and the student. It documents the stages of learning and provides a progressive record of student growth. This is an interactive teacher-student portfolio that aids in communication between the teacher and then the students. And here as well, in the working portfolio, we can diagnose the student's need. So here in the working portfolio, this contains all the activities that the child is doing inside the classroom. It could be graded, and it could be the draft, or it could be anything that the students is doing in the classroom. So ibutang niya tanan dira sa iyang portfolio, whatever the activities that he had done in the classroom. Okay, using this kind of portfolio, the student and then the teacher are aware of the students' strengths and weaknesses in achieving the learning objectives, as the evidence are there in the portfolio. So this happened that the students, whatever papers at hand every day during the entire academic year will be placed inside the portfolio. So this means that you will be building or adding to the portfolio every day during your placement to display the tasks and activities that you are completing. Alright, the other one here is the showcase portfolio. Showcase portfolio is the second type of portfolio, also known as the best work portfolio or the display portfolio. This kind of portfolio focuses on the student's best work and most representative work. It exhibits the best performance of the student. The best work portfolio documents the student's effort with respect to the curriculum objectives. It may also include the evidence of students' activities done outside the school, or it could be an assignment written at home. The most rewarding use of this showcase portfolio inside the classroom is it displays the students' best work, the work that makes them proud. Alright, in this case, it encourages self-assessment and builds self-esteem of the students. The pride and sense of accomplishment in the students can feel make the effort worthwhile and contribute to the culture of learning in the classroom. This type of portfolio is often seen in the, for example, as exhibits during school visit or during parents' visitations. Okay, so we can see that there are students' best samples of students' works that are exhibited during child visit, school visit, and whatever accreditation or visitation in your school. The last type of portfolio is what we call just the progress portfolio. Progress portfolio, this is also known as the teacher alternative assessment portfolio. This contains multiple examples of students' work with the same type done over a period of time, which are then utilized to assess their progress. All the works of students in this type of portfolio are scored, rated, ranked, or evaluated. So for example, you are teaching the child ABC. So the first try, you have to document it and then you have to grade it. Second try, third try, until the student can perfect the writing of the alphabet. So as you can see, the same work but being documented according to stages, according to progress, day 1, day 2, day 3. Teachers can keep individual student portfolio that is solely for teachers' use as an assessment tool. Okay, this is a focus type of portfolio and is model of the holistic approach to assessment, because in here we can really see that the students is really progressing. Alright, and that's all about the portfolio assessment. Overall, portfolio assessment again is an alternative way of assessing the students' output to cater to different audiences and purposes, and portfolio assessment can cater as well the things that cannot be measured during the traditional assessment and cannot be seen in a performance-based assessment. We have here the other way of assessing the student's performance. That's all for now, and we will have more on the 3 types of portfolio next session. We will be learning in the next session the different purposes of the 3 types of portfolio and what are the particular things to be included or to be in that particular type of portfolio. Again, that's all for now about portfolio assessment, and I hope you are learning. See you in the next session.